And it's a very warm welcome back to this independent off-tube studio-based commentary of this FIFA World Cup group stage game in Group K between Uzbekistan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. It was the Asian side that went in leading by a goal to nil after that first half strike, that early first half strike from Eldor Shomorodov, the captain. And, well, it's all to do for the Democratic Republic of Congo in this second half if they want to qualify for the first time in their history for the knockout stage at a World Cup. No changes by the looks of things for either side going into this second half. No changes in commentary either. It's myself, Ashurst, alongside me, Szczerbakowicz, to take you through all the remaining football to be played in this one. And Paul, I think we were very, very impressed with Uzbekistan, but mightily disappointed by the DRC in that first half.
I think in equal measure. I think Uzbekistan played much better than we were expecting, and that was made to look even better by the fact that DRC were just so lethargic in defence, devoid of ideas in midfield, and lacking any connectivity in the final third. And all those three of those things have to change if they still want to have a realistic chance of trying to get into the knockout stage.
Yeah, absolutely. They've got to be better in their second half. A reminder, by the way, that of course the other Group K game is being played at the moment and available on this service. It's currently Colombia 0, Portugal 0, which means it'll be the South Americans that top the group on 7 points. Oh, DRC almost play themselves into trouble down the near side. And passing Azar trying to link up with Axel Twanzebe, playing out from the back, put under pressure by Faizalayev. And in the end, a free kick given against the Istanbul Başakşehir man. And very, very fortunate there for Twanzebe that the free kick was given, because that was almost a ball lost in a very dangerous area. I'll run you through the lineups in a moment or so. But it is the African side just keeping a hold of the ball at the moment, knocking it from side to side before moving forward. Here it is with the man who thought he'd equalised for the DRC in that first half, and Buku, but ruled out for a foul earlier on in the build-up, as we're going to see our first yellow card of the second half. And Buku away from a couple there down this near side, but a pull of the shirt has seen Felix Vaya blow for a free kick and a yellow card. Just trying to make out who it was that gave away that foul. It was the number 13 Nasralayev, who I think is going to have done the head-in of Mbuku by the end of this game on two occasions, including the ruling out of the goal. He had a free kick given against him, Mbuku, for a handoff of the number 13, and on this occasion he beats the fullback, but he's pulled back, and rightly so, yellow card handed out to the Uzbek defender. That's a terrible effort from Kipenga there on the edge of the penalty area, and straight over the bar out for a goal kick. And it gives me a chance to run you through the lineups for the DRC. Some passing is out in goal, a back four of Maswaku, Twanzebe and Bemba and Wan-Bissaka. Midfield four of Kipenga, Sadiki, Mutsami and Mbuku, with Witter and Bakambu making up the front two. As for Uzbekistan, it's Nemetov in goal, a back four of Ashurmatov, a back three I should say, of Ashurmatov, Kusanov and Urazov. Midfield four Alizanov, Shukurov, Mozgovoy and Nasralayev, and then a front three of Khamadov, Shomorodov and Faizalayev. As DRC had the ball back once more, and the ball spun to the near side from Buku. Need to see more of him in this second half. Of course, got the ruled out goal in that first 45, but also looked dangerous. Having said that, he's given the ball away in a dangerous area, and here comes Uzbekistan, the counter tackle though. Ball won back well by Mutasami, and then Sadiki driving forward. Ball back, but keeps hold of the ball well. Wisser now into Mbuku, and Mbuku into Mutasami once more. Ball over onto the far side for Kipenga. Kipenga wants to run it. His man drives into the penalty area. Left-footed cutback is not a bad one. Sadiki, though, doesn't latch onto it and complains about the pass back to him.
Well, should Sadiki just maybe be a little bit quicker on his feet there to try and get to that ball? I agree, it probably wasn't played straight to him, but he was very static. He was expecting that ball just to be delivered to him.
Yeah, he certainly was. Here, though, come the DRC once more. Lovely run this from Kipenga. Ball to the box. Wisser with the left-footed effort. Wide of the far post. Really poor from the Newcastle United man. Kipenga again, the archetype. For the architects for this DRC side, at least in a forward-thinking area, and Wisser really ought to have done better with that chance.
Well, I mean, he certainly should. He's almost hit that with almost the base of his boot there. He's not got a clean contact at all, and he sent that yards away from goal. Very disappointing from Wisser. And I say better from the DRC in the fact they are trying to get forward. It's just a case of whether they can find that right way to really put Uzbekistan under pressure, because they've struggled to do that in this game so far.
Yeah, they certainly have. Uzbekistan have a thrown over on the far side, taken long down the line by Ashurmatov. Gathered though in midfield well by Cedric Bakambu, who will feed him Buku near side. Not a great pass from the Real Betis man, who struggled in that first half, and it's intercepted well and cleared away by the goalkeeper Nemetov. Long ball sent forward, looking towards the goal scorer Shomorodov. It's not a great one. Then that's a terrible pass out from Mpasi Nizau, who was asking, I think rather grievously, for more energy from Maswaku over on the far side. It's a dreadful pass, and here come Uzbekistan. That's a nice ball forward, straight towards goal. Shomorodov, top of the goal from the goal scorer. Over the crossbar in the end, but they almost played themselves into more trouble there, DRC.
Well, they almost did. I mean, for some of the fans behind the goal, from their perspective, it looks like it might have hit the net. We could see from our angle that it was always heading just a little bit over the bar, but it was a really good effort.
Yeah, really good effort. A sweeping right-footed strike from the 30-year-old, and he can't believe he's not found the back of the net with it. Early change being made in this second half, and this is unsurprising. Probably a change that should have been made at half-time. Cedric Bakambu off, and it's Mayele who comes on to replace him, the number 19. I mean, I'll be honest, he should have been off at half-time. Cedric Bakambu was dreadful in that first half. Fiston Mayele to replace him.
I just wonder whether or not Mayele wanted to, whether the manager wanted Mayele in for a little bit of a tactical team talk at half-time, and then he needed a few minutes on the touchline just to warm up, because I don't see the logic of giving Bakambu 5-6 minutes at the start of the second half. That change should have been made at half-time.
Yeah, it really should have done. Bakambu really struggled in this game so far. Let's see what Fiston Mayele can do. The Pyramids FC striker. Ball over on the far side now with Kapenga. Moves it inside to Wissa. Wissa now onto the near side from Mbuku. Trying to create the space surrounded by two in white, but Mbuku does well to get towards the byline. Chip ball in towards the 6-yard box. Headed away well by Kusanov. Only his father was Wan-Bissaka. Edge of the penalty area now for Mutasami. Mutasami over to Maswaki, further wide now for Kapenga. Kapenga wants it onto his right boot. He's held up well. Eventually he'll cross the ball in. Blocked though in the end by Shukurov. And play will continue with Maswaki now in possession. Floated ball towards the back post. Whistles up, heads up into the air, and it'll be cleared away by Nasralayev on this near side as he drives down the Uzbekistan left-hand side. He's got Faizalayev in front of him. Will try and feed the 22-year-old, but it's a pass that's massively overhit and gathered by Axel Twanzebe. I almost think there he should do better, Nasralayev, because there was a counter-attacking opportunity.
There certainly was, and I think that from Uzbekistan's point of view, if they see a chance, because I'll break off from that because here comes DRC.
Yeah, here it is with Mbuku, near side ball in towards the penalty area. It's a head go up, it's Mayele with it. It's over his head though, and Uzbekistan can get cleared towards halfway, and here they come on the counter-attack. Challenge made over on the far side, but the ball is won well, and the DRC mounting a bit of pressure. Here it is again with Kapenga, surrounded by two once more, still gets in the right boot. Kapenga with the effort. High and wide and not very handsome. Great skill with the ball on the floor. Once the strike comes in, it's not convincing, but they're looking a lot better already, DRC.
They are. They've got a bit more of a spring in their step. They've clearly been told they've got to do a lot more to give themselves a competitive chance in this group. And we're certainly seeing the result of that already, but we need to see a lot more.
They need 2 goals to go through at a minimum, the Democratic Republic of Congo. They haven't got one just yet, although they are ploughing forward looking for one. That's a really poor pass from Chancel and Mbemba. In fact, it's Siddiqui with it, looking for Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka is now out of position. What's the decision going to be on the near side as the ball's ended up out of play? It's Uzbekistan throw. We've got a problem here for Mozgovoy, who's been left stricken inside the DRC half, and Mbemba not happy that the game's been stopped. He's in a lot of discomfort here, the Uzbekistan number 6, and this is not good to see. It looked a pretty innocuous challenge from Wan-Bissaka.
I actually think he's caused more of a problem with the ball hitting the Uzbekistan man. Has he actually made contact with his boot? He has a bit as well, actually. I saw, yeah, there is a little bit of a follow-through there as well, but I think it's just...
I'm not sure there's much in that, though, Paul. For him to go down like he has done and need treatment, this is really odd.
I genuinely think this is the ball knocking his potentially his ankle or his knee joint. I mean, it seems that a strange one because... there didn't seem to be much contact with the actual opposition player at all, but it looks like the ball has struck him really hard.
The only thing I can potentially, or the only reasoning I can potentially give to this is, I have had it before where if the ball is volleyed into your foot and it's up in the air, so there's not really any tension in your ankle, if it strikes against your ankle, it can sprain it, but it didn't even look like the ball came off his ankle at that much pace. It looks in a lot of discomfort here. Does Akmal Mozgovoy. I really can't work out what it is. Cannavaro not happy with the decision from the referee. It looked so innocuous. And when he's gone off the side of the field, he's going to have to wait a minute until he comes on, the number 6. It's an unfortunate one, but yeah, really, really strange. Either way, we're back on the way now. Ball all the way back at the goalkeeper, Nemetov, who will launch along with his right boot. He's got some right boot on him, hasn't he? Uzbekistan's number 12. He's launched at an absolute mile, but either way, they don't come away with it, the Asian side. And here comes Noah Siddiqui driving forward. Kepenga now over on the far side, away from a couple. Right-footed ball is intercepted on the edge of the penalty area. And Uzbekistan will drive forward. Here it is with Shamuradov. Nice bit of play from him to hold up the ball and drive into DRC territory. Plays it back into midfield for Shukurov. Under pressure from the substitute Maele. Will go back over onto the far side for Alizanov. Alizanov back to Shermatov. Into Shukurov once more. And now all the way back to Nemetov, who will take his time over it before launching it long over the top. But it's towards nobody in white and easily gathered by Arthur Masuaku, who will fire onto the near side for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He'll step forward into Uzbek territory before moving it back inside to Mutasami. Mutasami now looking for options around him. Nobody shows until Siddiqui drops short. Well, it's played over onto the far side for Masuaku. Here it is now with Kepenga. Wants to run at his man and will get a run at his man. Ball to the near post is flicked on towards Whistler and defended well in the end by Abdul Kadir Kusanov. Still the chances there though for the DRC. Ball in from Mbuku, not a bad one, but it's too flat, easily dealt with. And Bemba though will gather 30 yards away from goal. His ball towards Whistler is flicked away well in the end by Udazov. And then was Kepenga fouled there over on the far side. Referee Felix Vaya says no. Chance still there though for the DRC as they keep this pressure on. Mutasami, ball over onto the far side for Masuaku. In fact, it's Siddiqui bringing it forward. Mutasami once more, who's playing in a much more advanced position in this second half. Masuaku, Siddiqui, 20 yards out, had the overlapping runner. Kepenga didn't use him, so we'll go into Mutasami once more. Wan-Bissaka, near side for Mbuku, left-footed strike towards goal. Is not convincingly safe. Still the chances there. No, it's been missed. What an opportunity! Brilliantly recycled by Chancel and Bemba. Surely that's not the offside flag up again as the ball comes across, and it should have been tapped in by Maele. That's the chance for the DRC.
That's the chance, but where's the offside?
He's miles off.
He is miles off, and as I say, different player, but it's the same problem. Bakambu hardly got any service at all, and he still managed to find himself offside a couple of times. And now Fiston Maele is doing exactly the same thing.
Yeah, really disappointing from the substitute. The fact that he missed, he's had his blushes saved by the offside flag.
It's almost just like it's a knee-jerk reaction to go after the ball, forgetting the fact that there's an offside rule. I know it sounds a little bit simplistic, but it genuinely looks like that because he wasn't paying attention at all. And now it's going to be a time for a double change from Uzbekistan.
Yeah, one of those players coming off is the number 7, Shukurov. Off he goes, and off goes the number 17 as well, Hamadov. We haven't really seen too much of the 17. It's very much been Faizalayev of that front three, or the two wingers I should say, who have been the more impressive. As that double change is made, it's the number 9 who comes on, Odilijon Kamrabakev. And it's also Ganiev as well, the number 19, who'll come on in midfield. I think that's just in search of fresh legs, to be honest.
It certainly is, yeah. There's not really any change of style or formation. It's like-for-like swaps. Wide midfielder and a central midfielder coming on to replace the same. Here come DRC now down the left-hand side with Kepenga.
Yeah, lovely run from Kepenga, but eventually he's thwarted inside the penalty area. Now it's an opportunity for Uzbekistan to drive forward, although they've lost out in midfield once more, and the DRC have got bodies forward. Kepenga had to play the pass. Still though the chances there. Here it is on the edge of the box. Mbuku trying to create the space. He's so one-dimensional though, the number 7. The strike comes in from Mutasami. That's comfortably over the crossbar in the end. They've got no idea what they want to do with the ball in the final third of the DRC.
No, they don't. And that is proving to be a problem because they're actually getting enough attacking possession to cause problems now, but they're just still not being able to do it. The quality of the ball is still very poor.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a decent move there that they just couldn't make anything of. The African side, and that's thoroughly disappointing, you have to say, from their point of view. It's just under an hour played in Atlanta. Independent off-tube studio-based commentary. It's a DRC 0, Uzbekistan 1. This second half has flown by so far. But that's not what the DRC need at all. What they need is a goal, and a goal soon, if they're going to have any chance of going through as one of the 8 best third place finishers. Ball over on the far side with Kapenga. Held up by 2 in white before he goes back into Masuaku. Early ball in from him. He's not a bad one. Whistle with the flick on wide of the post. Again, another huge opportunity. Whistle not known for his aerial ability. It's a great ball in from Masuaku, but it's maybe, you'd say, slightly overhit as it goes through towards the former Brentford man.
Yeah, I mean, Wissa's having to strain out. Potentially, if he leaves that, it might have actually dropped to Mabuku, who stood behind it, but Wissa was at full stretch to even get anything on that one.
Yeah, he certainly was. It's not a bad ball in from Masuaku, but the chance goes a-begging once more. Good sustained spell of pressure, this from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Just as I say that, Gani Evers won it back in midfield, and they'll drive forward down the far side, floats the ball in. It's a good one, great header away from Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Crucial bit of defending there, and here come the DRC on the counter-attack. Kipenge, ball in behind, looking towards Maele. You can tell that he's a 32-year-old chasing after that. The legs were not there for the substitute.
No, he couldn't get on the end of that one, but the throw has been taken quickly. Here's Wissa.
Yeah, Wissa holds off a couple of challenges really quite nicely, and then that's Mutasami losing out in midfield, and he's going to be yellow carded for that chance from behind. He has been so poor in midfield as Mutasami. He looks like he can barely run in that midfield alongside Noah Siddiqui, and I'm not being funny, Sunderland fans will tell you 70% of the world is covered in water, the rest by Noah Siddiqui, and if he can't cover all the ground that Mutasami is leaving free, then absolutely nobody can.
Well, Mutasami is a central midfielder who's hardly seen the ball. We've hardly mentioned him, and that's always a problem. Your central midfielder has to be involved, even if his side aren't seeing too much of the ball. He's got to be one of the players trying to win it back, trying to bolster that team, and he's just not doing it at all. Siddiqui and Mutasami, now the 2 central midfielders, both on yellow cards.
Yeah, they certainly are. Early ball into the penalty area over on the far side from Uzbekistan is a poor one, straight into the hands of goalkeeper, and passing is out. He will try and get his side moving quickly. Mutasami over onto the far side for Masuaku. His touch allows the challenge to come in, but a free kick has been given for a challenge over on the far side. It was Hamrabakov who was giving it away, and that's going to be an opportunity for the DRC to come forward to see a replay of that from Wan-Bissaka. That's such brave defending, diving in with Faiz Aliyev. It's a brilliant header away from the former Manchester United man.
Did really well there. He needed to do that because Faiz Aliyev wasn't too far away from getting on the end of it.
He certainly wasn't. Mutasami now in possession for the DRC. Ball to the near side for Mbuku. Mbuku, nice ball down the line for Wan-Bissaka, who made the underlapping run. Wan-Bissaka, was he fouled there from behind? Referee says no, but for some reason Wan-Bissaka then runs all the way back to the halfway line before getting Mutasami to restart. Mutasami, ball in behind, looking towards Maele. Passes over here to straight out of play for a goal kick. That's really poor thing from Wan-Bissaka down the near side. Mutasami looking to try and be expansive, but Wan-Bissaka's first touch is so bad, he's forced to run all the way back to the halfway line.
Well, he is, and now we get shots of Sebastian Desabre, and you can tell that he's sort of almost perplexed by it. He's got a slightly sort of confused look on his face, thinking, what else can I do? These aren't my players. There just seems to be a disconnect with the DRC players this evening.
They look like a side who haven't played together with each other very much, which we know isn't the case at all. And, well, it's bitterly disappointing to see, but here come Uzbekistan now, driving forward as the DRC gives the ball away in midfield. That's good defending there from Chancellor Mbemba to win the ball back. And they almost try and invite the pressure on from Uzbekistan before launching long. It's not what you need if you're the Democratic Republic of Congo. They've given the ball away again, and this suits Uzbekistan down to the ground. Here's Mozgovoy now in midfield. Yeah, linking up with Gonoviev. Gonoviev now back to Mozgovoy once more, and there's no pressure on the ball from the DRC. They're just allowing Uzbekistan to have it and switch the ball from left to right. Ball played early inside, looking towards Shomorodov. Mbemba can't get there. Ball in behind, looking towards Faiz Aliyev, and it'll be cleared out of play by Mpasi Nizal on the near side. This game almost feels done already. 64 minutes gone.
It does. It almost feels like DRC have just run out of ideas, and I can't really understand why. You just feel that they should be tearing up the pitch to get through into the knockout stage of a World Cup, but just not able to do it. And in the meantime, it's Uzbekistan on the attack.
Yeah, it is. Faiz Aliyev down this near side has been mightily impressive so far in this game, although Mbuku has done well to win the ball back. Links up with Wan-Bissaka and Siddiqui. Ball sent forward is a decent one, held up well by Maele. Lovely bit of play from the striker. Was he fouled there? Felix Vaya says no, and eventually Maele loses possession, and it's slightly unsurprising, I'll be honest, that he has lost possession. It looks as though another change is being readied by Sebastian Desabre. It's Macau the number 6 ready to come on sooner rather than later. You'd imagine that change is going to be made at the hydration break, which is due in the next couple of minutes.
And it looks to be one of 3 changes as well.
3 changes ready to be made on this near side. I'm also seeing a number 10 as well, which means it'll be Bongonda, who's also ready to come on. Teo Bongonda, as here come the DRC once more, trying to drive down the far side again. Poor bit of play in the final third, giving the ball away. And now a chance for Uzbekistan to come forward. Faiz Aliyev down the near side. Foul from behind there, surely by Mutasami. Referee says no, much to the dismay of Fabio Cannavaro and his coaching staff. Play continues though with the DRC in possession. Sadiki along halfway, skips away from a couple. Will then play Mutasami on the near side, who takes the play down to walking pace. Not what the Democratic Republic of Congo needs. Sadiki now trying to turn it up into Mbuku on the near side. Ball to the box of the flat one. Oh, penalty! And that'll be a penalty. It's really lackadaisical defending inside the penalty area, and it's who else but Abdulkadir Kusanov, the star boy of Uzbekistani football, who's given it away. Cannavaro not happy. He thought there was a foul on the near side that should have stopped that move from advancing, but it wasn't given by Felix Via. Play continued, and Kusanov, who we said is so immature positionally, has kicked through the back of Johan Wissa, and that is a Stonewall penalty every day of the week.
It is a Stonewall penalty. There's no way.
It's so bad.
He's just slung a leg out and he's caught Wissa. And I mean, it's not as if Wissa's trying to get the foul or trying to win the penalty. He's gone for the ball and then had his foot taken away from him.
It's so bad from Abdulkadir Kusanov, who really, I'll be honest, has probably been the worst of the 3 central defenders for Uzbekistan this evening. As we've said, his market value is probably 90% of the market value of the entire Uzbek squad, but he's really not performed this evening, and it looks as though
Mbemba's going to take the penalty.
It looks as though it's going to be the captain, Chancellor Mbemba, to step up and take it. Something has happened on the near side, which means that the DRC are not happy. Something's going on. Maybe it's the Uzbekistani players stepping into the penalty area. I mean, they've condoms, because I actually think Johan Wissa is going to take it, and Mbemba standing over it.
Yeah, it's the usual trick of getting one big player just to stand over the ball, and once the referee's made cleared everyone away, then you can get the real penalty taker in, and it is going to be Johan Wissa.
What a huge moment in the World Cup this is. Johan Wissa stepping up in the heat of Atlanta, Georgia, to get his side back into this game and back within a chance of qualifying for the round of 32. Johan Wissa, slow run up, stuttered run up, but into the bottom corner, and the DRC are back level. Huge moments in this one. Johan Wissa withstands the pressure, and all of a sudden the camera pans to Abdulkadir Kusanov, who's denied his side potentially a first ever victory in World Cup football. Brilliant penalty from Johan Wissa. Even if the goalkeeper goes the right way, he's not saving that. And well, it's the DRC 1, Uzbekistan 1.
He arrows that one into the bottom corner, side foot, but with a lot of power. Very confident penalty from Johan Wissa, and the DRC bench absolutely loving that, and the perfect timing just as we should be going into the hydration break. So ideal now that Congo can get their ideas together with their manager and try and come out and win the game. But we've restarted for now, funnily enough.
I'm not entirely sure why we haven't gone straight to the hydration break there. Is there a rule that we can't go? Because I've seen this happen a couple of times now, where after the goal is scored, they don't go to a hydration break. Either way, here come Congo on the attack over on the far side. It's Kepenga trying to play it in behind, looking towards the substitute Maele, but the pass is overhit and straight into the hands of the goalkeeper Nemetov, who will take his time over it before bowling it onto the near side for Urazov. Urazov now looking for options around him, will float it long down the near side. Wan-Bissaka with the scuff clearance gives the ball away in midfield. Here it is now with one of the substitutes, Ganiev, who will drive down this near side. Good bit of play from him. He's held up in the end. In fact, it's Sharakov trying to come forward. He's then gone through the back of Mbuku after the DRC win the ball back, and that should indeed see the game paused for the hydration break, and it will do. We've now got a game on our hands. It's not been the highest quality by any stretch of the imagination this evening in Atlanta, but independent of Chief Studio-based commentary, it's DRC 1, Uzbekistan 1. It's been back and forth, and now all of a sudden you expect the Democratic Republic of Congo to really go hell for leather and try and get themselves another goal to see themselves through to the next round of this World Cup. A reminder that they've only ever qualified for the World Cup once previously. That was back in 1974 when the country was known as Zaire. They lost all 3 games of that tournament, and they have a chance to make history this evening to these players by becoming the first Congolese side to make it out of the group stage of a World Cup. They're getting strong words now from their manager, Sebastian Desabre, who's got a brilliant record in charge of the Democratic Republic of Congo. As for Fabio Cannavaro, Paul, what does he say to his side now? Because let's not forget, look, they may have thrown away the victory. You maybe can't see them coming back and getting another goal in this one, Uzbekistan. But a point would still be a huge result for them.
Oh, it certainly would be, and I think that from Uzbekistan's point of view, they haven't been able to upset Congo's rhythm, DRC's rhythm as much in this second half as they did in the first. That's partly down to DRC being a much more difficult outfield to try and actually break down. But I'll be fascinated to see how these last 20 minutes play out, because I think Cannavaro, he's got a very difficult balancing act now, because if he tells his players to sit back, they're just going to invite more pressure. But if he tells them to push too far forward, they're going to leave themselves too exposed to the back as well. So it's a very, very difficult balancing act.
It certainly is. As players continue to get more instructions on this near side. A reminder that later on, there are another 2 games available, kicking off at 3 a.m. British time this evening. Jordan face Argentina in Group J, as do Algeria versus Austria. I'm really intrigued to see how that Algeria-Austria game plays out. In case you were unaware, both sides know that a 0-0 draw sees them through to the next round of the competition. We had a similar situation a couple of days ago in the game between Australia and Paraguay. Unsurprisingly, the two sides played out a pretty drab 0-0 draw. I don't think anywhere near enough was made of that game. A lot has already been said in the build-up to the game between Algeria and Austria. Of course, after the disaster at World Cup 82, involving both sides, by the way, Austria knocking Algeria out, having played out a 1-0 defeat against West Germany. I'm very, very intrigued to see how that game goes and how FIFA approach it. But that is a story for later on in the day, because we're now going to see a fair few changes as we exit the hydration break, and I hand it over to Paul to take us through to full time.
Thank you very much. Just as we make that triple jump, really have to be on my toes now. But no surprise to see that Muntasami is going off. He's been disappointing. Mabuku had that moment of brilliance in the first half, but he's been quiet. And the final change there was Kikpenga, who I think might have just run his race now. But it's Macau, Bongonda and Elia come on to replace them.
Yeah, triple change made by Sebastian Desabre. I think a lot of that is bringing on players with fresh legs and seeing what they can do at this late stage. You feel like Uzbekistan are potentially tiring. And you've got to try and take advantage of that where you can. Faisal Aliyev has also been brought off as well from an Uzbek point of view. On comes Oston Uranov, the 25-year-old Persepolis midfielder. That's a relatively defensive change, I feel, in that sense. A winger who also plays in central midfield, much more defensive compared to Faisal Aliyev. But yeah, that triple change made by DRC, taking advantage of the fact that at the minute Uzbekistan are very much on the back foot.
Well, they very much are, and it's just a case of whether or not DRC have got enough about them to really exploit that now and go for the win and potentially get an extra goal or two. Straight away, Theo Bongonda getting involved, deflects the ball off Nasser Aliyev, and DRC have a corner.
Yeah, really good start there from Mbonga, who needs to be switched on and get his side down the other end of the field. It's there's not much to say that hasn't already been said. Time is ticking, but there needs to be some quality.
Ball into the 6-yard box. It's a little bit too low, and it's easily cleared. Now a chance here for Uzbekistan to go forward, but that's a really good challenge in midfield. Winning that ball back there was Macau. The ball played down this right-hand side as DRC look, but that's been won back. Good work there from the substitutes, Uranov, to try and get the ball away for his team. And eventually Nasser Aliyev gets a deflection. I think that's gone out for a throw to DRC after all of that. But that triple change just at the hydration break. No, it's a throw on to DRC in an attacking position. So here comes Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's not going to waste any time. He's straight up the field to try and get this ball into the penalty area. And he does launch it long. Headed on at the edge of the 6-yard box. It was Mbemba with the header, but then it's Nasser Aliyev with a quick clearance up towards the halfway line. And they'll be hoping they can keep the ball, but again, it's been won back very quickly here. There really is a spring in the step now from a DRC, and it does beg the question why they didn't come out at the start of the game with this kind of attitude.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a moment, doesn't it, to get you going, and we see that time and time again in football, and I think that moment came with the penalty. And as long as it comes at some point, you put yourselves in a decent position to kick on. As here they come now, Wan-Bissaka down the near side.
Yeah, with a whip of this Wan-Bissaka, but the header is over the bar. He's quite a long way over the bar in the end there from Mayele, but it was always difficult. I think the ball was just coming in at quite a height as well.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was always going to be a difficult header. There's not much he could do. Could he maybe head it back across goal? Yeah, probably. He's never going to score from there. That's got to go back across goal, and I think he probably realises that.
Yeah, in the end, nothing doing with that one, but still 15 minutes plus some injury time to go in this game. And just a reminder, we are less than an hour away now from the final group games of this 2026 World Cup. Algeria, Austria, as Luke already mentioned, with that interesting dynamic of both teams really wanting to lose that game. And then, of course, Jordan, Argentina. Argentina, I've already had a quick glance at the teams, minus Lionel Messi, but it's still a very strong side. And as I say, I still expect Argentina to put on a decent show in that game. We'll wait and see how those two games play out. And just in case there wasn't enough football for you today, because of course we are into Sunday now at 8 o'clock this evening UK time, we're into the first of the knockout games. It will be South Africa against Canada, and that game is going to be played in LA. But back here in Atlanta, it is DRC in possession down the left-hand side. The ball played back to Masuaku. We really had to chase that one just to make sure it stays in play. Now it goes square to Tuanzebe. Back to Masuaku, who then tries a diagonal ball through the middle. Wissa maybe unnecessarily put a foot to that, because then it just guides it away a little bit from Mayele. But Wissa wins it back in midfield. Play to the edge of the area. Chance it now. It's back with Wissa. Thought about going for goal. He leaves it now. It's played over towards the left-hand side. Here's Elia. Elia trying to take on his man, and they're appealing that it should be a goal kick. And the referee agrees. It's good work there from Azilayov. He just gets that deflection. It'll only be a goal kick.
Yeah, good bit of defending there from the Uzbekistani man. Really good play from Wissa, driving from deep in midfield. It's also a really good hold-up play by Mayele. I just feel like once he gets to Macau, he doesn't really do Wissa any favours. In fact, it was Bongondo, wasn't it, the number 10? Doesn't really do Wissa any favours. I think in that position, as Wissa's arriving late, you just get yourself out of the way, don't you, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that there's a danger now. They've got so many forward players on the field, they may actually start to crowd each other a little bit here at DRC, but they've got to try again, and they are trying again. Here they go, down the left-hand side, and here's with Meshak Elia. He goes for goal himself. Big deflection, and it's into the back of the net. And on this occasion, Fiston Mayele is not offside. A great bit of instinctive striker play, and DRC have turned it around. On 77 minutes, they lead 2-1.
Credit where credit's due to Sebastian de Sabre, because these changes have worked an absolute treat. I said earlier on, he is a man who knows what he's doing. He knows how to turn games around, and that's exactly what he's done. The camera panned to him straight away, because it's his changes that have turned this one around. Absolute delight for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Absolute delight for Fiston Mayele, who actually, as this game has gone on, has done brilliantly well to get involved and offer himself as a physical presence inside the penalty area. It's decisive running down the far side. It's a strike towards goal. I think Mayele may just be onside. He does so well though to react to the ball. It's a lovely finish. I mean, it's a real striker's goal. It really is. It's showing initiative. Uzbekistan caught on their heels. I really hope for the DRC's sake that this goal is onside. They've deserved it for their reaction in this second half, and well, it's really top quality strikers play from Fiston Mayele.
It really is. Those DRC fans absolutely loving it, and the players on the field are loving it as well. The referee is pointing to the middle, so if there was a VAR check for an offside, it has been completed. The goal will stand, and so with 12 minutes plus injury time to go, DRC now lead against Uzbekistan by 2-1. And we'll see, of course, how the game goes from here, because in terms of how straight away Uzbekistan trying to get on the attack with a ball down the right-hand side towards Shmuradov. He then gets bumped off the ball, but it is out for a throw to Uzbekistan down the right-hand side. Say Congo the DRC don't want to celebrate too early either, because there's still plenty of time in this game for Uzbekistan to spoil the party.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, they've not exactly been convincing defensively, have they? The DRC, they've done their best work by keeping the ball down the other end of the field. They've got to stay switched on, because Uzbekistan will now do everything they can to try and get themselves a first World Cup point with 10 minutes remaining.
Well, here they go again now, Uzbekistan down the right-hand side. That's not a good ball out from Masuaku, just gives it away, but he gets a second chance because Alis Hazov will just touch that ball onto him, and he wasn't able to get it back towards his teammate in support there, Ganyev. Now it's cleared towards the halfway line. Real heavy touch there. Gets that ball away from Morozov, but he just about manages to get the pass over towards Alis Honov here on the right-hand side. working back well there was Bongonda for DRC, but his pass towards the left-hand side for Elia has been picked up. Now it's an early ball towards the edge of the area where Shmuradov was moving towards the box, but this one has been cleared back into midfield. Masuaku then towards the halfway line. It's a quick ball played down the left-hand side, but it will get cleared out for a throw. And all of a sudden, it's like Uzbekistan conceding that goal has suddenly woken them up.
Yeah, again, it's about moments in football, and it's about how you respond to those moments. The DRC have really got to stay switched on now, because Uzbekistan will throw everything at this. I just think they've got to show a bit of quality. That from Masuaku is not quality. They've also got to show composure. They've never been in this position, and they are so close to setting up a tie with England in the next round. We're going to see the 3D graphics to how tight this offside was. I mean, in the end, it's probably not as tight as it maybe looked, because the hand is what's closest to being offside, and obviously the hand can't be offside.
No, it can't. I mean, as I say, it's that borderline between. Well, certainly, yeah. That graphic there was actually quite confusing, because I think for somebody who's perhaps new to football and trying to learn the minutiae of the offside rule, that graphic would confuse them, because it would make them think that you can be offside because your arm's offside, whereas you can't be offside with your arm being offside.
Yeah.
So it's it's slightly confusing, but certainly from the point of view, the goal wasn't there wasn't an offside. There was absolutely the correct decision. Just getting more replays of those delighted DRC fans telling the camera that it is now a 2-1. And another change here now. The final change it will be. Uruzov, the centre-back, is going. In fact, I beg your pardon, they will still have one more change here left, won't they, Uzbekistan? But it looks like it is Uruzov who's gone off.
Yeah, it's a double change. It's Uruzov who's gone off, and it was... trying to make out who it was, the second player that's gone off. Uruzov been replaced by Sergeyev. And it was also Mozgovoy who was brought off, and Iskandarov who's on to replace him. So Uzbekistan have now rolled all their dice, and that's all of them now, all the changes they can make. And it's there's nothing more Fabio Cannavaro can do now. All his work at this World Cup has been done. He's now got to hope the players on the pitch can do it.
Absolutely, yes, and from his point of view, he certainly feels so inside. But we're going to get one more change in now for DRC, as well as Artem Masuaku is going to be going off for these last few minutes.
Couldn't make those changes when Uzbekistan were making those changes, could they? We've had to wait until...
Yeah, well, it's all about getting that clock to tick down. It's, as I say, and until we as a footballing community stand up and say it's ridiculous that so much time is allowed to be wasted, and we want to see a stop clock in football, until that happens, we're going to get more and more of this, I think.
They just don't think about the commentators, do they, when they make these changes? That's the problem.
Well, no, I think, again, to say, you always assume there's going to be new fans at a World Cup, new people watching football and perhaps trying to get into it a little bit more. That's always, I think, the thing that's going to confuse people the most. It's why there isn't a stop clock in football, in the same way that try and explain to someone like an American, for example, who's never followed cricket, why, if it's raining today, just wait until it stops raining then. It's just understanding certain sort of fine detail of certain sports sometimes can be a little bit confusing, but certainly as far as this game is concerned, that's really poor there. Wan-Bissaka giving the ball away in midfield. Suddenly this has woken up the Uzbekistan attack down the left-hand side, heading towards the edge of the area. There is Uranov. He can't quite get that ball in towards the box, so just trying to do a little bit too much himself.
Yeah, great defending from Noah Siddiqui, getting back well. He's worked tirelessly so far in this game. He really has. It's poor from Wan-Bissaka, but it's recovered back well from Siddiqui. And now here's an opportunity for the DRC to come for... Oh, Maele had a bit better control on the edge of the penalty area. He'd have been in there for his second of the game.
He certainly would have been, but the ball just couldn't quite sit with him there, and it's been cleared and played all the way back towards the goalkeeper now. We've still got 6 minutes plus added time to go. It's now starting to look a little bit more like the sort of stats we would have expected to see in this game. 13 efforts from DRC, just 3 efforts from Uzbekistan, but something for Sebastian de Sabre to think about. For 13 efforts on goal, only 3 of them on target.
Yeah.
And one of them is a penalty.
One of them is a penalty, yeah. You're absolutely right. I'll be honest though, I don't think anybody came into this tournament thinking DRC were going to be the highest scorers in the competition, put it that way. So I think basically what it is you do well to take the big chances that come your way, and the 2 biggest chances that came their way, they've finished. So again, I'll come back to what I've said before. It's about moments. It's about who responds in those moments. In that first half, Uzbekistan were responding to the moments better. In this second half, it's absolutely been the DRC who have capitalised on those moments, and I would argue they'll thoroughly deserve the victory if they're able to hold on to it.
Yeah, I think that they're value for it now. As I say, they were value for nothing in that at the end of the first half, and they deserve to be going in 1-0 down. But they have definitely stepped up in the second half, and they've put the kind of pressure on Uzbekistan I would have wanted them to have put in the first half. I expect them to come out really racing out the traps, but it didn't quite work out. We've got to give credit to Fabio Cannavaro's side as well for coming out with really good intent. And of course, having the ball in the net inside 20 seconds was very good evidence of that. But here they go again now, Uzbekistan. They haven't said the last word in this game yet. If they can spoil the party and get themselves a World Cup point in their last game, they'll certainly want to do that.
Yeah, 100%. Look, it's always a huge feat to get to a World Cup anyway. And I think a lot of credit's got to go to Uzbekistan for getting there. I've heard far too many times during this tournament that Europe is the hardest confederation to qualify out of. You look at Iraq. Iraq had to play 28 games to qualify for the World Cup. That's an obscene amount of games. So Uzbekistan have done brilliantly well to get through Asian qualifying. They really have. And the fact of the matter is they've scored 2 goals, one against Colombia, not an easy feat at all, as we've seen throughout this tournament. Portugal will attest to that this evening. And they've also scored against the Democratic Republic of Congo as well, who have only conceded 2 going into this one. So look, they've done very, very well. Will they be disappointed that they're probably not even going to come away with a point? Yes, quite possibly. But there is so much to build from, and as we've seen time and time again, when nations qualify for a tournament, when they see their best players put on show in front of billions around the world, that nation tends to progress massively in their footballing journey. And I hope we do see Uzbekistan progress massively, because we don't have enough top quality Asian teams in the world at the moment.
No, we don't. And as I say, there's certainly scope there. There is money within the country. There is development within the country, and they are, as I say, and we've already seen a couple of players making their way into top European leagues as well. And the more that happens, the fact that they got somebody like Fabio Cannavaro, that again adds a bit more profile to the country's football. And so I always think that once you've had one marquee international manager, it's always easier to get the next one, because it's almost like the next one says, oh well, if Cannavaro liked it, then maybe I'll like it as well, and it just allows for a bit of a sort of a progress as well. But yeah, I've been they were overrun completely in the game against Portugal. They conceded early, and they weren't at the races in that game, but they have tried very hard in the other 2. Yeah,
they certainly have. And look, there's no shame in getting thumped by Portugal. It happens. They got a goal. Sorry, they didn't get a goal, but it got ruled out. But yeah,
that was a great goal as well.
It was a fantastic goal. You know, they've really put themselves on show in the world stage, and I think that part of the world is so underrepresented in world football. But we've seen a Kazakh side qualify for the Champions League in Kairat Almaty in the season just gone. You know, we're seeing Uzbekistan play at the World Cup. We're seeing players from those nations end up playing for big European side. Hearts have had a player in their team this season nearly win the SPFL from that part of the world. Oh, strike comes in from distance out of nowhere. It was Maele with it wide of the post in the end, and out of play for a goal kick. Of course, you've got Abdulkadir Kusanov. You've got the 2 Istanbul Başakşehir players in Shomorodov and Faizalayev as well in this side. I think there's so much room to grow from that part of the world, and it is really, really exciting to see.
Absolutely, it is. As I say, we want the game to be a truly global game. The fact that there have only been, is it 8 winners in total of the FIFA World Cup since it started? You want that over the next 40, 50 years, that number to certainly to go up by a few at least. It would make great strides to see new nations win the World Cup. But the ball played into the penalty area, and it's quickly cleared. As I say, Uzbekistan just trying to put a little bit more pressure on there. Chancellor Mbemba feeling a little bit of pain. Both sets of players have got to be careful now, because both managers have made 5 changes.
Yeah, they have done. Mbemba, I think he may have just been caught there, and maybe also suffering from a little bit of cramp. This is when the heat is really going to start hitting, and tiredness is really going to start playing on playing its effects on those players who've played all 90 minutes and have really had to dig in and work hard, as all that wasn't a great change in midfield, and Felix Valla's not giving it as a free kick, which has really shocked me.
Yeah, and the DRC bench is up in arms with that as well. They've been a bit frustrated with the referee this evening. It's clear, I mean, as I say, I've done a couple of games at this World Cup where where the referee's been a UEFA referee that I've seen many times in the European competitions, and they've been basically told to be lenient. It's so obvious. Istvan Kovac, the game I did a few days ago, I should say, he was letting everything go, but Johan Wissa brought down, that should be a booking as well.
Yeah, it should be. Just trying to make out who it was. It was Goniev who broke down the counter-attack, and I probably should have been a yellow card. Do you know what, though? I think you're right about the European referees. They have been told to let things go more than they do in UEFA competition, but I've been very, very impressed with the refereeing in this tournament as a whole. Yes, we've seen some really shocking decisions. The lack of a penalty from Mbappe in that Senegal game. You'd probably even say the decision to rule out the goal earlier on in this game was quite a shocking decision. But ultimately, I think the referee's been great. As a striker cross goal is just going to go wide. In fact, actually, it's going to be kept in. Here come the DRC.
Here come the DRC. They've still got plenty of time. They've got 8 minutes of added time just been displayed by our fourth official. Have no idea. Oh, what the heck? That is from Wissa. He just turns at the edge of the area, looks up, and then sends an absolute beauty into the bottom corner. We're not going to need 8 minutes of added time now because DRC have got their 3 points. They've got their 2+ goal difference, and they'll be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, they certainly will be. Emotions high on the DRC bench and in the squad as well, as Johan Wissa is lifted in front of the crowd. What a moment that is for the African side. Absolute jubilation in the stands at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This is a huge moment. Look, we're talking about already this evening recently about how huge it's been for Uzbekistan, this tournament. But what a moment this is for the Democratic Republic of Congo and for African football as a whole. I think African representation at this tournament has been superb. There have been some fantastic football on display from African nations, and the DRC, for the first time in their history, are going to make it out of the group stage of the World Cup. And what a finish that is from Johan Wissa to cap off this performance. It's really great play over on the far side from the substitute Elia to keep the ball moving and keep the ball in play. Does brilliantly well to find Wissa, and what an unbelievable finish that is.
Stunning.
He's had a really tricky 12 months as a Newcastle United man. Fell out with people at Brentford, demanded a move away from the club rather unceremoniously when he deserved a nice send-off from the Bees. Turned up at Newcastle, was unfit, had his injury problems, didn't perform in the African Cup of Nations, but this evening he has really turned up for his nation, and what a superb moment that is for the Democratic Republic of Congo. Yes, Uzbekistan will try and reply, but I tell you what, it's going to take some doing now to get themselves back into this game.
Well, it is. We've still got 6 minutes to play in this game. There has been a VAR check, and the goal that Colombia scored in that game against Portugal has been ruled out, so it is still 0-0 in that game. They're into the 4th minute of added time. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is now feeling a little bit of cramp. As I say, it's been quite confusing for me in terms of the added time. You mentioned that refereeing overall, I've been happy with the refereeing as well. There've been a few games where they've been a little bit too lenient, but overall they are trying to let the game flow. We don't want to have a game which is constantly being slowed down by the refs. It has actually gone out for a corner to Uzbekistan. It's an out-swinging ball headed away at the edge of the 6-yard box by Johan Wissa, who's very quickly pushing himself into that position of being man of the match.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think with 2 goals, you're pretty certain to be man of the match, aren't you? Even though he's been yellow card, I think Noah Siddiqui is a player who could be up there as well. Really been impressive in midfield alongside Mutasami, who's really struggled. To be fair, Macau's been excellent alongside Siddiqui since coming on. But yeah, I think it's probably going to be Johan Wissa with the 2 goals.
Yeah, you'd expect it to be. And
2 of the biggest goals in DRC history. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. The goal that gave them the goal that brought them level, and then the goal that then wraps up the points. The first and third goals this evening for DRC scored by Johan Wissa, and I tell you what, that second goal for Johan Wissa, that's already pushing to be one of the better ones of the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen some absolute belters throughout this tournament, haven't we? Really top quality.
It's the way he just threads that ball is superb.
It's beautiful, and you know what as well, with that goal, which this is amazing as well. With that goal, the DRC will be at top of the table of the third place finishers. Yeah, I mean, what a moment! Without doubt, this will probably go down as the greatest game in Democratic Republic of Congo history, and it's fantastic to see. They set themselves up a tie with England on July the 1st, and the winner of that game will go through to face either Mexico or Ecuador. And I tell you what, no disrespect to Mexico or Ecuador, but they're teams that arguably could be beaten by anybody on their day. You know, we're not talking a France or a Spain or a Germany here. We are talking a pretty nice route towards the quarterfinals. I have to say, yes, it'll be difficult with Mexico on home soil, but I think if the DRC can frustrate England as Ghana did, they could be with a real shout of causing a big upset. I mean, it sounds crazy to say this, but after the first half, where we were massively slandering the Congo.
They were playing very poorly. We couldn't understand why, but they're going for goal again here now. An effort from outside the box is also a long way over the bar in the end. Not quite what wanted to do there, Makaya, but the ball goes over the bar and it's out for a goal. It's all over in the other game. Colombia-Portugal has finished goalless. We've still got around 3 minutes to go in our game.
Yeah, we have. I mean, delight for Colombia. It's a huge result for them to finish top of the group. Massively benefits them in terms of their next round because it means they'll face Ghana and then followed by either Switzerland or Iran, depending on what happens later on between Algeria and Austria. They'll then face one of Argentina, Cape Verde, Australia or Egypt. So really great result for Colombia this evening.
Here come the DRC again now down the left side. The ball into Wissa just a bit too high. Drops. Oh, and it's smashed over the bar. Great chance there for Bongonda, but leaning back and swiping at it. As soon as you hit it, you know it was going over.
Yeah, always travelling over. Disappointed there from Bongonda. As for Portugal, though, by the way, because they finished second, they then set themselves up a tie against Croatia, followed by either Spain or Austria. So we could have around a 16 tie between Portugal and Spain. And if anybody remembers the World Cup in Russia, the group stage game between those two, it was absolutely thrilling.
Oh, we're here they go again now. Great chance. Ball. Oh, the ball into Wissa. There's probably a better ball to have been played into Bongonda, but in any case, Wissa with a bit of a heavy touch, it gets away from him. And the ball is now back into Uzbekistan possession. Still 2 minutes to go in this game. And Uzbekistan pushing forward now down the right-hand side. Ball rolled back in towards Sergeyev. He just slows the play down. I do feel a little bit for Uzbekistan, as you mentioned. They really have tried in this game. They've tried in this World Cup, but as I say, very few teams, barring a couple of exceptions, very few teams get to their first World Cup competition and then take the competition by storm. It is a learning curve over a number of competitions.
Yeah, it certainly is, and I think part of the reason they've struggled is to keep up with the pace of play. And we were speaking off air, weren't we, about teams who have got squads filled with players who play in top European leagues. We look at Japan in particular, who have got virtually an entire starting 11 made up of players who play in Europe's top 5 leagues. They don't struggle to keep up with the pace at all. In fact, they set the pace. The cross comes in from Uzbekistan, not well dealt with by Mbembe. The strike comes in blocked well by Wan-Bissaka on the near side, who is actually really struggling.
He really has got cramp now, and he's hobbling there. Nasrulayev had his shot blocked. He then wins the ball back off Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and we see that last opportunity there where Bongonda sends it over. I mean, he slammed it over the bar. You can see the DRC fans behind the goal. Absolutely very frustrated when they saw that. But I have to say as well, for all the worry about ticket prices and all the sort of geopolitical stuff and the visas and everything else, the fact is that it has been wonderful to see that every single nation at the World Cup has been represented by their own fans, whether they're fans that are North America based or that have travelled. It's great to see that they're there.
I was going to say, look, as frustrating as it's been to see about all the problems that have been caused by the US's politics, it's such a diverse country that you know there are a number of people from a lot of countries that are already in the United States and therefore can get to these games. And you're right, it has been absolutely fantastic. See, as there goes the full-time whistle, and what a moment this is! It's party time for the Democratic Republic of Congo, because for the first time in their history they have made it out of the group at a World Cup. They will celebrate hard into the night thanks to a 3-1 victory courtesy of goals from Wissa, 2 from Wissa and 1 from Fista Maele. They were put under pressure after an early goal from Eldor Shomorodov, but absolute delight in Atlanta because they're through to the round of 32. Mass celebration for the African side, and it finishes 3-1.